Welcome back to Relax Radio. This is me, Nick, giving you guys company are talking about all the things that is happening in the UK. And when you think about a lot of these things and the issues right now, and looking at things right now, we were talking about how the travel restriction is going and how the UK is right now undergoing a lot of these changes, especially with the May issue. The May 17th issue that Boris Johnson says. There's a lot of these big changes that are going to be happening in the UK. So make sure you guys follow the news. Make sure you guys keep being informed, because being informed is the most important thing we need to do right now. And this is the way that we know what is going on in the country, especially. And the topic at hand, to be informed about is, like I said, all of this is going down. And the Queen's speech. There's a Queen speech that is going on right now. So the Queen has outlined the government's priorities for the year ahead. Yeah, that's right. And she said, as she officially reopened the Parliament. And in a 10-minute speech in the House of Lords, she highlighted 30 laws that ministers intend to pass in the coming years. So this includes a number of bills carried from the previous session of Parliament, which ended back in April. So it also includes a number of bills included in the past Queen speeches. So just to give you a summary of what she has been talking about, giving you the key points of her speech. Well, she was talking about infrastructure, okay? She was talking about infrastructure and leveling up in the country as well. And when you think about it, a government security and telecommunications infrastructure bill will extend 5G mobile coverage and introduce a new safety standards for digital devices. Yeah, that's right. She spoke about, this whole bill when it comes down to product security and telecommunications and all this infrastructure involved in it. And she was talking about this and how it extended to the 5G mobile coverage as well. And the other thing is the subsidy control bill, which will set out post-Brexit regulations on how the government can support private companies now the UK has left the EU's state aid regime. I mean, this is just another bill that they want to introduce, especially when it comes down, because right now the UK is depending on it's not depending on the EU right now, the state aid that they've been receiving. So they're looking at other ways. She spoke about other ways of how, these post-Brexit regulations and how the government, can support all of these private companies. And another post-Brexit piece of legislation, the procurement bill. And this will, replace EU rules on how the government buys services from the private sector. So tax breakers are also, expected, to are expected, the tax breakers from the employees based in these 8 free ports to be set up in England later this year will be included in a national insurance contribution bill. That's right. This bill, there's another bill also that is popping up right now. And this is just, another thing that they are trying to bring into force. And a new UK agency to search for groundbreaking scientific discoveries will be established by the Advanced Research and Invention Agency bill. So new powers to build and operate the next stage of the HS2 high-speed rail line are contained in the high-speed rail bill. So this is the Crewe Manchester bill. And it seems to me most of these are the most important when it comes down to infrastructure. These are the things that we need to be done. Like, these are the things that are lacking right now in our government and in our community. When you really look at it, these are points that we can improve on. And all these things are just some of this. These are just some of the things that the government is planned for the domestic purposes and all the civic issues right there. And the other thing that they were focused on, that they touched upon rather, is the armed forces. They were talking. The Queen, in her Queen speech, she did speak about the armed forces, and she said legacy legislation will deal with legacy issues from troubles in Northern Ireland, including restrictions on future prosecutions of British soldiers. So government support for veterans will be outlined in an armed force bill, putting the so-called Armed Forces Covenant into law. So she spoke about about the whole armed forces situation in the UK. And and the other thing is borders and security. So speech referenced new legislation to overhaul the UK's post-Brexit asylum system and discourage migrants from crossing the English Channel. So like I said, they were in case you guys are not quite in up to date with what is going on. So there was this whole situation where Priti Patel was talking about how the government needs to rather adopt and establish these new laws and bring in less immigrants, especially those who come in through illegal ways, and they come in from these countries like Germany and all of that. And for those countries that do that, from the countries that they come from, they are going to be sending them back to those countries as well as refugees. Because when you think about it, the whole point, what they were trying to make and address, is how these people come into these countries as refugees, but then they're coming to the UK. It's sort of like they are looking for something of a better life instead of the whole purpose of a refugee. So that's what one of the things that they have referenced in the speech that they spoke about, and they're trying to discourage migrants from crossing the English Channel. So yeah, new powers for the police over protests and new sentences for serious crimes are in controversial police crime sentencing and the courts bill. So yeah, this is just got this whole thing is got to do with the Sarah Everard case. Yeah, so these are one of the things that they will be touching on. They touched on rather, and a draft online safety bill will contain new requirements on tech giants to tackle harmful and illegal content online. Yeah, another thing that is happening. And a counter-state threats bill will introduce a new registration requirements for foreign agents and rules for protecting state secrets. So yeah, the communications security bill will also place new legal duties on telecoms firms to increase network security and restrict the use of high-risk technology. So yeah, a draft victims bill will also create new rights for the victims of crime, including new standards on support offered to sexual and domestic victims. Yeah, this is just a part of all of this that they are planning to establish. And the constitutional reform also is going to be happening, and that is a dissolution and calling of parliament bill will get rid of all of these. Will get rid of the fixed 5-year period between general elections and return the power to call early elections to the prime minister. So yeah, plans to force voters in Great Britain to prove their identities when they vote at general elections will be introduced in an electoral integrity bill. So yeah, the other bill that she was talking about in the Queen's speech was the judicial review bill will be set out by the government's plan to change how its decisions can be challenged in courts. So yeah, these are just some of the things that they will be talking. And other thing is housing. So they were talking about housing as well. They're talking about education and all of this. So housing, a long-awaited planning bill will introduce changes to the planning system in England, including a controversial zoning system. In case you guys are wondering what even sparked this up, well, this was all got to do with that fire that happened in these apartments earlier this year. Yeah, so this is just some of the things that brought these whole issues up into the light, into a brand new light rather, and a new system for regulating the safety of high-rise buildings and inspecting construction sites will be set out in the building safety bill. And yeah, education wise, a skills and post 16 education bill will introduce a new flexible loan system designed to promote rather wider participation in further education in England. And a higher education, the freedom of speech bill will place new legal duties on students unions, the universities in England, to ensure free speech on campus. So yeah, these are just some of the bills that they are planning to adopt, and they're planning to reform as well. So yeah, these are just some of the things. And the environment and animal welfare, yeah, the environment bill, they spoke about this, and whose passage through the parliament has been repeatedly delayed, will introduce new post-Brexit rules on protecting nature, and a trio of bills on animal welfare will ban the export of live animals for fattening and slaughter, and bring in mandatory microchipping for cats. Yeah, these are just some of the things that they were talking about in the bill. So what else was referenced in the speech? Well, the speech calls out for plans for consultation on introducing a legal ban on so-called gay conversion therapy in England and Wales. So yeah, a document accompanying the speech says they will ensure actions taken to stamp out the practice does not have unintended consequences. So yeah, ministers have pledged to ensure medical professionals and religious leaders can continue having open and honest conversations with people. And the speech also said the government would be introducing measures to reduce racial and ethnic disparities. Yeah, that is, that all sparked off with the Black Lives Matters movement, and how there was a recent review, in case you guys are wondering, there was a review where the government said that, hey, we are not technically a racist country. Yeah, well, this is, some of the things that sparked this whole situation up. And yeah, this is the government commissioned race report that I was talking about. And what wasn't special in this speech? Well, the speech, said the government would be bringing forward measures to reform operations of social care. And yeah, that's basically the social care system in England. And it did not commit the government to introducing a specific bill to overhaul how the sector is going to be funded. So reports suggest that the discussions are ongoing with government about the potential costs of changes, which could run into the billions. So the lack of a new bill in the speech has been criticized by opposition, politicians, and care groups. So yeah, these are just some of the things that they were talking about in the Queen's speech. So these are some of the reforms and the bills that they will be discussing, and they will be changing and maybe making amendments to as well, as the time is going by. Hopefully, these are all for the better or the worse. We don't really know. Let's see how it goes, as it goes along. But with that being said, it is about that time of the day for me to head on out of here and make way for my buddy Matthew, who will be keeping you guys company on the vibe, keeping you guys vibing all the way. So make sure you guys keep it locked with him. And with that, you can catch me again tomorrow only here on Relax Radio, RELAKS. So if you guys have any opinions or any thoughts on the matter or what we were talking about today, hey, you can always feel free, call me up, hit me up, WhatsApp me, message me, or you can message my buddy Matthew. The numbers to do so are 07852 473 473. And also don't forget, you can download the app from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. We go as Relax Radio. But with that, I'll catch you again tomorrow, same time, same place. And with that, my name is Nick, and I'm out of here. Peace and much love.